G'day everybody, Brad Williams here from Williams OT Driver Assessments and Rehab, and also those wheelchair prescriptions and home modification prescriptions as well. Look, this is a little bit of a plea, I guess, to be kind to our OTs and be kind to the providers that are out there that are doing their absolute best in this changing world of the NDIS. We haven't changed the way that we practice, although we are always looking for ways to improve and to better help our clients get what they need in regards to equipment and to get out on the road with driving. But there's been a real shift in the way that we are perceived out in the wider audience, and I'm assuming this is the same for other providers. In fact, I'm not assuming it. I've spoken to other business owners and people are shutting up shop and moving on because of the stress caused by the NDIS and trying to serve their clients in the best possible way. We're being accused of rorting the system, of trying to make a buck and trying to maximize as much money as we can out of every participant, which is absolutely not true in any way, shape or form. Williams OT itself has been going since before the NDIS, and we have adapted our ways of doing things based on what the NDIS require. Now, there was a post come out that NDIS delegates aren't reading the reports. However, we have been asked to produce evidence, like lawyers, I guess, in regards to having to prove value for money, for equipment, for services, and learning how to drive in our case. That evidence needs to be there, otherwise we get a million questions, and I mean a million questions, back from the delegates who aren't reading our reports by the seams of it. But we can go back to them and say, as written on page 4, 10, 15, 17 of the report, you will see we highlighted that here. Over and over and over again, we are having to do this. We are having to answer the NDIS with their questions, and we try to get all of that pre-answered before we actually have the questions come to us. So we can say, look, we've done this and we are a quality provider and we're doing this in the best interest of our clients. So this week we have been accused of rorting the system by how many hours that it takes to do an assessment. It should only take 1 hour in their mind to approve high level controls in a motor vehicle. We're being accused of not working in the best interest of clients, which is a real shame, because we pride ourselves on that we are making it too difficult for people. I'm going to put it straight out there. We would love this to be a simple process. We would love it to be a simple process and just go like the good old days where you used to go, well, this is what you need, let's start therapy and it's up to you to agree to it or not. But it's not like that. We're asking the government for money, and the government asks us to meet all of these criteria to move forward. We are caught in the middle, and I ask you and I plead with you to be kind to your occupational therapists. There are occupational therapy businesses shutting down all over the place because of the stress caused by all of this. A few years ago, I would have recommended any OT start a business. I would not be recommending that right now, especially if you're going to go working in the NDIS space. It is difficult, it's very hard, and with the uncertainty moving forward with the NDIS. The changing in functional capacity assessments. Now, we don't do functional capacity assessments, we just have steered clear of that area. But it looks like they're going to go back to NDIS themselves, and who knows what level of assessment that's going to be. The OTA, with the Occupational Therapy Australia, are currently working or trying to work with the NDIS to demonstrate that OTs have demonstrated that they're very good in this space of assessing clients and showing that value for money for the NDIS. and it takes a holistic approach to these assessments where we actually have to understand the individual and how one individual can greatly differ to another one. Another example this week is it's just a power wheelchair. We know it's going to fit. Well, is it going to fit? Because look, let's use the example of V6 Frontier wheelchair fitting in behind the steering wheel. We should just be able to look up the dimensions of the wheelchair. Well, if a short of stature person is using a V6 Frontier base, their seat is going to be completely different to somebody who's 6'6" maybe, and maybe obese. The frame underneath is going to be the same for the docking station, yes. However, is the 6'6" person going to fit in behind the steering wheel with their wheelchair? Are they going to be able to get down the side door panel and actually get in behind the steering wheel, or are they going to be sitting off to one side and moving over into the center area of the car, which impacts on ergonomics? Is the short of stature person going to be able to actually get in behind the steering wheel, be able to reach their controls and be able to see over the steering wheel? So yes, it might be a V6 Frontier wheelchair, but that's just the base. And yes, the docking station will work with that base, and we know that. But we need to assess that all of the accessories on the wheelchair get out of the way, move out of the way of where the controls are going to go. So it's not as easy as what people are portraying onto the OTs. The OTs need to tick off all of these things, and that's just one example. We've got to make sure the hand controls fit. We've got to make sure that the person can reach the docking buttons to be able to get themselves out of the wheelchair. There needs to be circulation space to be able to get out of the car in that wheelchair. They need to make sure they don't hit their head on the roof or be in an impact zone, to make sure that the person, if they go over a bump, don't whack their head on the side of the car. If they're going forward, they're not going to whack it on anything else in front of them or behind them. Has the wheelchair got a headrest to be able to stop whiplash? Or do they need a turn in because their hand function's no good, and we've got to assess whether they're far enough forward to have a turn-in headrest. Look, I'm getting into the nitty-gritties, but it means that we are doing very thorough assessments. We are ticking off every single box from start to finish, and it takes time, and it takes a lot of due diligence, and it takes an extremely high level of report writing. The other thing that we have to do is we have to live by the competency standards that are put forward for us. So that means that we have to get medical clearance. You have to go to your GP. We've got no say in that. We have to also ask that we assess your cognition, your vision, and your physical abilities. So it's not just a matter of taking a look at you and going, oh, you're in a wheelchair. This is what you need. We can't do that. We've got competency standards that we have to live by when we're assessing medical fitness to drive, and we can't do anything about that. All right, that's it. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to ask you to please be kind with your OTs. I'm going to ask you to please be understanding and ask questions rather than accusing people of something that's maybe not true. Please build your evidence to know whether you are in the right, or build your evidence so you can learn something new about what's going on in the background. The media are drumming up all of these providers rorting the system, but in my experience with the OTs and practice owners that we converse with, it's all on the same page. We are, especially the OTs that I'm aware of, very much looking to do the best for the client, and being accused otherwise of that is heartbreaking, and it makes it very difficult to keep morale up in my staff, and they question why we're doing this anymore. So the reason why we're doing it is because we're doing it for the clients that are out there, the people in need, the people that are in crappy pieces of equipment because they've paid for it by themselves like 15 to 20 years ago and it's falling apart. Prior to the NDIS, they were having to pay for it out of their pocket, and they're still using that piece of equipment that is really no good for them. We're doing it also for the people that want to increase their independence and freedom and try to get a job. And the only way to do that is to be able to drive to and from work, whether it's a physical disability, getting their wheelchair in and out of their car, or driving from a wheelchair in a van with high level controls, through to getting a home modification done so they can actually get in and out of their home in comfort and ease, and it takes 5 minutes to get ready compared to maybe 45 minutes to get ready. All of these things count. I'll leave it there. I just ask you to be considerate to your occupational therapist. Yes, it takes a lot of time. Yes, we are asking for a lot of time in our service agreements. But I need you to know that that's coming through from the NDIS. And all of the questions that they need answered to be able to give the tick of approval for modifications or equipment or service providers coming into your home to help out. That's my rant. It's over. I'll leave it there. But please reach out with any comments that you've got down below, and we'll look into them and get back to you. But I ask you again, please be kind to your therapist, your occupational therapists in particular, and yeah, we're here to help. Thanks very much. Bye.